Hey, I'm Dave Klein of TheRealStanLee.com, and I'm here with Brian, the lead PvP designer for the Elder Scrolls Online. Something new to the Elder Scrolls franchise's PvP, and that is what you are in charge of. How are you handling that responsibility?
It's a mountain's worth of responsibility, but it's a lot of fun for sure. We basically looked at Cyrodiil, that's where the Imperial City is, and the story behind Elder Scrolls Online has Molag Bal seizing Imperial City. So all the soldiers kind of withdrew into the city, which meant that the three alliances could go ahead and do a land grab and fight each other out in Cyrodiil.
So Elder Scrolls has typically always been, and not just typically, it's always been very much a single player experience. And being as such, how are you making sure that with Elder Scrolls Online you make it so the character can still have a long enough story and tale to keep them engaged?
The story for your character is very simply that Molag Bal, that bad guy I was just talking to, stole your soul. And in the process of, getting out of the starter area, which is, we'll give a little treat about that later on, you go back to your territory and you adventure through the area, getting your soul back, but, everybody needs help from every city out there, like you're playing Daggerfall here. It's about 120 to 200 hours worth of gameplay in one alliance alone. Yeah. So that's great player content for either single player or you can play with your buddies.
Yeah, and I'm assuming with that PvP aspect then, that is a crucial element to making sure that players will stick around beyond the story.
Yeah, the PvP, I mean, again, besides just that PvE experience, the PvP is endless, for lack of a better way to put it. There's keeps to siege, resources to capture that help feed the keep, and plus you're just plain old killing other players.
Yeah, of course. And I'm sure the PvP then is part of the end game experience. What else can you tell me about the end game experience for Elder Scrolls Online?
In terms of the dungeons that you can run through, they're instance dungeons that are 4-player dungeons. You run through it once on regular difficulty, but then you can play it on the master difficulty, and it basically takes the same dungeon and adds another part 2 to the story. It's harder, it's more difficult, but besides those dungeons, once you complete level 50 in your alliance, you can then go to the other alliances and do their content too. You won't, you won't run into enemy players in that territory, but you can experience their stories too.
So with the Elder Scrolls franchise, it's always very much been a stat-building franchise where you can stat yourself out, and you can pretty much become any type of warrior you want, but you can also make yourself become a demigod, essentially. How are you trying to handle that aspect of the Elder Scrolls franchise and make it utilizable for an online experience?
Yeah, any class can wear any armor and use any weapon. We also have the Fighters and Mages Guild, which also gives you more abilities. There's the PvP abilities that you can gain. So you get that sense that you're building a character that you want. I personally play as a sorcerer in heavy armor, dual wielding, and I have a bow. So when I'm out on the battlefield, people don't know exactly what they're getting into. And
so now you know what to play as. That's the build.
That's one of them. Maria, who's here, she plays as a two-handed, kind of like a battle mage type character. So you make the character that you want within the class system, and it's really good.
So there is that class structure to make sure you can't become a demigod?
Yeah, the classes give you kind of a good starter point for what type of character you want to be. The Dragon Knight's kind of a frontline fighter. Every class has 3 sort of subsections within their class skills. But I mean, even there, you look at the Templar, for example, they have healing abilities, they have damage abilities from range and damage abilities up close. So you can customize like crazy within that.
So now within the MMO, how are you trying to maintain the Elder Scrolls experience, but still keep it an MMO?
The best thing about Elder Scrolls is the lore, and we have a lore master back home, Lawrence, who is in constant communication with Bethesda to make sure that everything we put in, all the Daedra, all the territory that we put in, and the names of even the cities and the NPCs all match Elder Scrolls lore. So we're going to fit right in there, so make sure nobody feels like, oh, we took the lore and did something strange with it, like, an orc riding on top of a panther. We're not doing anything like that.
So as the lead PvP designer, what has been the most difficult aspect to try and maintain a good balance between all the different types?
What's really difficult in PvP is to make sure the fight is good with 3 alliances. With 2 alliances, it can kind of just slam up against each other and it turns into a stalemate. With 3 sides, it adds another dynamic to it where one side sees another group fighting another side and they go, well, who are we going to stomp on? And 9 times out of 10, they just kind of slam in there and go after everybody. And we get these huge 200-person battles. It's great to try and figure out how we incite those battles.
So you have all-out wars, basically.
Yeah, it is a war. It's not like I'm queuing to go into a 10-on-10 match. It is flat out a war. We want thousands of people in Cyrodiil and like 200 on your screen or more trying to press that envelope.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to see Elder Scrolls Online, and get to experience the PvP, as that is what you're in charge of.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.